everyone, I'm Martina Alagna, a lighting designer based in London, working at Nulty. I'd like to start with a big thank you to Women in Lighting for inviting me. It's an honor for me being here and share my passion for lighting, besides so many great lighting designers from all around the world that will be sharing the stage with me today. So with lighting and colors, benefits and opportunities that can be created in an ever-changing workplace environment, I would like to take you through the journey to how we can rethink the design approach for workplace to ensure that people are always at the heart of the space we create. The sun never knew how wonderful it was until it fell on the wall of a building. This is a quote taken from In Price of Shadows by Junichiro Tanizaki. It's an inspirational book on our relationship with light and shadows, which I would highly recommend you if you haven't read it yet. Like the architects study and work with daylight, we as lighting designers study and employ artificial lighting in the same way. This picture of Salk Institute of Biological Studies in California from Louis Kahn, architecture from Louis Kahn, it's a great example of how light can interact with architecture to provide stunning results. It also shows how emotive our response to natural light from the sun can be. Louis Kahn had an interest in materials, and one of these materials was the light. How natural light can come in through windows, skylights, holes in the roof. He was also a narrative artist, and in his architecture there is a plot with surprises. You find yourself being alterated as you go from beginning to the end. And there is a great sense of the scale of the individual human body in these massive buildings. You as an individual are never rendered ant-like. You are being enlarged, made greater. And he is absolutely a master on making you feel like human on a greater scale. But what does a day in light looks like? Given our instinctive connection with light, it's important to look at how that relates to our lives on a daily basis. So obviously now, due to the current circumstances, our day is a bit different, and we not everyone commute to the workspace anymore, or at least maybe in a few months we'll be able to do so. Some others might not go back to an office, but I would like to just have a look at a typical day described in light. So broken down to a few case stages, we can see that in the morning, you can ace into a day waking up and probably see the world under sunlight or darkness, depending on the time of the year. Light triggers our waking process. And then during the day is when we obviously have the most likely experience the bulk of daily interaction with light. This can be on the way to the train, go to work, on your lunch break, and then anywhere in the evening, we mostly likely have a good control over our artificial lighting conditions, and we can play with lighting and set into a comfortable low-level ambience. On average, we spend 92% of our life indoors, and only 7% of our life is outdoor. This is not good for our well-being or our psychology. Humans have evolved to respond to an abundance of natural light, and anything other than this isn't great. Unfortunately for most of us, the reality is that we spend a large portion of our lifetime at work. So the average person will spend 90,000 hours at work over a lifetime. So we look at how those figures sit proportionally. It's clear that how we design our indoor spaces is really quite important. So let's have a look, for example, at how could be an usual lighting scheme for a general office. So this is fairly modern, clean, good size. But how does this space make you feel? So the general comment could be not very engaging, uninteresting, generic, flat. But surely nowadays the lighting to the workplace should be in a good place, given that the technology advanced so much, the scale of choice of lighting products as well, and different approaches now are available in bigger than ever before. So let's take a look back and see how the office lighting has developed in the past century and how this improved over the years. So pre-50s, primarily suspended lights, very residential in style with warm lighting. You can see some wall lights, task lighting to ensure correct brightness, especially given the main lighting wasn't never that efficient. And above everything, it's soft, warm, and would say completely opposite of what we're thinking of today. And then we go to 50s. We have a change towards more open plan office space with advances in building materials as such steel and glass. And we move to fluorescent lighting, which meant a change away from the typical residential style of interior lighting. 60s, obviously there is a use here of fluorescent lights and was a commonplace. And as visual tasks, we still it's still paper-based, and this work rates as high level of uniformity, and light could be achieved easily with minimal fitting quantities. 70s, so there is an introduction of technology, start to change, and the way how we worked. So we can see here where we have accessible ceilings, which are fairly standard, and then we have fluorescent light source, which is still the lighting fitting of choice. The new focus will be here like on sort of a glare control influencing in the design of fixture, with diffusers and louvers being preferred. Here on 80s, we can see cool white lights within the 600 by 600 ceiling are still commonplace, and although some design elements are breaking through, we can see in this photo that there are some interesting fitting shapes being used, like the rounded version, and even some accent lighting with spotlights. 90s, the cubicles, popular between 80s and 90s. Quite happy that we have been moved far away from this. So here we are starting to see the use of integrated lights, as you can see, and the recognizable modern office elements are taking place. So we have a computer, phone, and also the unmistakable post-it notes here are present. And then we have the 2000s, and here is an example of how typical modern office with accessible ceiling lights, LED technology throughout, presence detectors, sensor meant a level of controllability, although this is relatively concentrated to how energy based, so how we move within the space and how to again save the energies, and not rather than sort of an individual controlling that essence. We have a bright uniform space, would say bit flat quality of light, and particularly here there's not task lights, so not much of individual control as said. What about today? So nowadays internet connect people like never before, and the workspace is no longer confined to an office. People are able to work from anywhere. Flexible working is become the norm with the hot desking and alternative workspaces, increasing lots in recent years anyway. So what does this means for the workspace? It has to become a pleasant space where people want to spend time, and so to focus, the focus has to shift from a rigid and solid design composition to a flexible and multifunctional space. But let's have a look at some examples. So how many of you would like to spend time in a place like this? So this is the Amazon HQ in Seattle. And obviously here we have the interaction with the satellite and artificial lighting. There is a bit of like biophilia design where the nature is brought from outdoor to indoor spaces, and it's absolutely a stunning work environment. Here we do have Google Office in Dublin. This is an absolute innovative workspace that can combine fun future lighting with a human-focused solutions. And here we have WeWork in London, for example, and it's a cool working space. It looks like being very comfortable, and it's bright, but not too much. Obviously, there's a lot of daylight coming through from the ceiling, and it's definitely a very nice place that I would like to spend some time. So what's have in common all these places? So the design is based on the human interaction. We do have the access to daylight, which is really important, and then you make you feel comfortable within the space. We have engaging features, which is part of the furniture, but also very functional lighting. And we do have a very good balance between the different spaces, whether this is a relaxed area or a working focused space where mainly like task lighting is required, but also unconventional. That means that the space is tailored to the individual needs. So whether you want to spend some time in a relaxed area, go to another place, or different areas that needs to be tailored for the human being and not being generalized throughout the space. What is influencing the lighting approach in a workspace? To answer this, we need to look at the key sets of consideration driven the way that these are designed. And obviously we have to look at the design standards, so regulations, normative, certifications. And so yes, we have to look at standards like lux levels, uniformity, UGR, CRI, luminary efficacy, and also design following certification schemes, like for example, WELL, BREEAM standards, and etc. This creates obviously a greener built environment with sustainability always at the first place. But what we need to remember is that the standards are guidelines. So this is not sort of it can turn into a tick boxing exercise without considering the most important thing, which is the emotional connection within the space. This space, for example, as well standard accreditations, ticks all the boxes, and for standards and guidelines. So what is missing here? The human connection. So people aren't at the heart of the design, feeling to escape from the workspace instead of enjoying to be there. So how do we design for the human factor with lighting? These are few things that we have always to consider. And this is to make it visually appealing. So we have to ensure that it engages with the people within the space, and we make them to spend time there. So nice lighting features, very like good balanced lighting levels. Make it controllable, so ensure that people can tailor the lighting to suit their needs. And this, obviously there are preferences and tasks that will be undertaken within the space. They have to be able to control the lighting and to make sure they're feeling it they're feeling the right space. And consider our biology. So here we can share infinite thoughts about the circadian lighting, and although I won't go too in detail, I think it's worth to consider how understanding of how our body respond to light, and the human-centric lighting topic lightly has been far too often only linked around the color temperature matching with the daylight to maximize our productivity and hide our sleep patterns. So while there are undoubtedly benefits to understanding this from a biological perspective, it's important also to consider the moral question that this is rise. So it is right to artificially manipulate people's surroundings, and do we have enough understanding in order to correctly utilize these tools to its best effect? I believe we should leave this area to be led by the science, not overly influenced by manufacturers and suppliers that nowadays are attempting to lead trends in the market. So anyway, this is a very gigantic topic, and I said, so I would like to go back to how consider the human factor within the workspace environments. So I would say that we have to remember that the status quo shouldn't be ignored but challenged. So take risks, explore innovative way to redesign our surrounding, and understanding what are our needs as a human being first. And so, yeah, I would like to present to you a commercial project completed a couple of years ago. And I would like, so this was a very close partnership with Office Fit Out Specialist Modus and interior designer Siwa Kang, both based in London. This is the new London headquarters of Verdanta, global mining metal company. And this is a flexible executive space in Mayfair where we have boardrooms, offices, meeting rooms that can all transform into a large open plan event space. So let's have a look at the plan. Here we have the 860 square meter of a multi-purpose project, which is characterized of its chameleontic-like design feature throughout the space, and where the lighting plays here is a key role in affecting the metamorphosis of the spaces. So as you can see here, the wall space is split within partition wall. These walls, which are flexible, can disappear moving on a series of tracks into the ceiling, and basically these walls are stored in pockets into the sides and transforming this entire place as a single large open plan, as said just earlier. So let's have a look on how this concept has been developed and what was required by the client for this space. So as said, flexible space, that was really important, that the lighting also was obviously be undertaken in this direction. And we need to have a function as this space to function as day by day, but also to function as a workspace and still wow the visitor. The general concept was for a celestial interior focused around the natural sources of light as sun, moon, and stars. And the wall space had to open up and join to create a hugely flexible array of unique spaces. Entertain clients, so this is a day mode and needs to be comfortable, private, and a pleasant place to spend some time. And have conferences. So this is the boardroom, and they had to have like dedicated lighting optimized for video conference and reduce up to zero the flickering effects, and have been a very comfortable visual appealing. So scene setting was a must across in all areas, and the most important lighting elements here are the moons and the sun. So this diffused element in recessed within this amazing ceiling. So the real challenge here was absolutely create these sort of two elements, have a diffuse lights to be able to work and have a nice environment for day by day, but also create this sort of ethereal pool of light to like relax and be more like mindful of the environment that you have around. And so let's see at the final product. How did we design this feature? So having a look a bit more closely, we developed a number of these bespoke luminaire alongside our sister company. And this is a combination of back illumination with a thermoform diffuser on top of it, and mini recessed downlights all around the frame. This is a tunable white feature, RGB and all the lights functions are run via Dimex control to create all a variety of range of scene settings. And the interface has been designed to be highly user-friendly, and the lighting can be adjusted by scene selections on a key plates, or the more specific event functions, these are just via wireless tablets. Here we can see the bespoke three-dimensional corner ceiling, which help to emphasize the ethereal quality of the light filtering in through. And here we have the sun, which is the biggest feature lighting that we have within the space, is 180 centimeters diameter, and this is how we tested it in situ. Here's just to have a look at the details. So as said, we do have this thermoform diffuser where we have this color changing RGW light strips, and all around the downlights to create this sort of like shade of light feeling. Here's the final product, which is the most flexible scenes for RGBWW. This has been divided in 5 centimeter short pitch, so this is quite good controls. And we can create different effects, including dynamic moving scenes. And here, this is a quite good picture to understanding the functionality of the fitting itself. So this is how the luminaire can transform the space, and how the color and the lighting can be adapted to user needs. So it can function as a relaxed, quiet room, working daily use, special events, and obviously the color lighting allows to change in the space with a simple touch. And so let's have a look at the moonlight journey throughout the workspace. So yeah, let's have a quick look at the project. So we have an interesting welcoming lighting, inviting you into the reception area. The scheme is composed of a combination of low glare multi-cell down lights, creating pool of lights, and on the attractive white marble floor. And here we have the eye drawn to the large sliding doors framed by lighting elements. And the lighting here is, again, low glare, very comfortable and concealed within the perimeter to watch down the work vertical surfaces, and we can see a detail here. And here the sliding door then open up to the multi-purpose room. This is have like a look and feel of a celestial other world that the clients briefed us at the beginning, and the main interaction here with the space, it takes the form of hallway of mirrors with 6 working areas and the chairman office in one side. The lighting is designed to mimic the daylight during the day, during the working office hours, and providing 5 different dynamic whites effects for the day-to-day use. And as well as the trap people that enter into the space as they move throughout the in the evening space in settings. So thanks to the PR system able to trigger the presence of the user in the space, we can obviously modulate the lighting all the way through this hallway. And obviously, as a multitude of color changing effects can also be available in presetting scenes to make it user friendly. This is one of the meeting rooms, soft and bright, with adequate light levels for working as a range of tasks and activities. And the chairman's room, where we have the sun, and it's the most flexible of the spaces, and this is where the majority of the clients' tasks are taking place. And the boardroom. So I said before, he wants to make sure that the light levels were correct, but also create this sort of, with the licensing, a bit more comfortable space to stay. Also, obviously, we have run room through some testing. We made sure that the ambient is flicker free for video conferences. So to summarize, the most important aspect of designing for a human-centered workspace is truly to get to know the requirements of the people that will be using the space. The design must not to be a ticking boxing exercise, as I said before. So yes, we have to follow the standard, but we also have to go through the creative process with innovations at the earth. So whether this is like 600 by 600 standard ceilings panel or a collections of moon, it's vital that the design can take risk and always challenge the status quo. So thank you.